Hi, I'm Blake with Fendt. Today, we're going to be doing a walk around on the Fendt 500 series. The horsepower range of the 500 series is going to take you from 124 horsepower up to 164 horsepower with 4 models in that series. Those 4 models are going to be horsepower dependent, so what horsepower do you need to fit your operation? When we look at weights, the unladen weight or the empty weight is going to be around 13,000 pounds depending on your options, and your max permissible overall weight is around 23,000 pounds. Now the engine, if we look at what's under the hood, the engine is going to be a 4.04 liter engine. It's going to feature our Fendt ID technology. So Fendt ID is our low engine speed concept. That low engine speed is going to allow you to reduce those RPMs when you're doing your normal day-to-day tasks. If you're used to a conventional machine, we're used to running higher RPMs all day long, like 2,300. The first time you drive a Fendt is going to be a change for you, and it's going to be a good change. You're going to get used to those lower engine speeds. You're not going to have all that noise in the cab. You're going to have reduced fuel consumption, and that engine's going to last longer because it's not making as many revolutions per minute. Now, it's not all about the engine, right? Every Fendt tractor sold is going to include a Fendt CVT transmission. That CVT transmission is going to take this tractor from 65 feet an hour up to 33 miles an hour. In order to operate that tractor in that 65 feet an hour up to 33 miles an hour range, you're going to have 2 ways to operate it. You can operate it with a joystick, push forward or pull back to slow down, or you can use the foot pedal. There's an orange foot pedal in there that you can use to control the speed of that tractor as well. So with Fendt, you tell that tractor what speed you want to go, and it'll match the transmission and engine RPM to achieve that for you based on the load that you're pulling. Now let's take a look at the cab. So the cab or the line variations on the 500 series, you're going to have 3 options. There's going to be a Power, a Profi, and a Profi Plus. So when you look on the side, if you're ever wondering or looking at a machine trying to figure out what it's equipped with, look at this badging right here and that'll tell you a lot. So this tractor is a Profi Plus. If you're looking at a power machine, if you don't need guidance or if you don't need ISO bus or all the monitors inside the cab, that's going to be a great option for you. It's still going to have that Fendt reliability, still going to have the heavy-duty engine, that well-renowned CVT, and the good hydraulics. You're just not going to have as much technology baked into it. Now, if you need a little bit more technology, maybe you want to run some ISO bus, you want some more terminals in the cab, then a Profi is going to be a great option for you. If you need guidance now or if you want guidance in the future, you're going to want a Profi Plus machine. That Profi Plus machine is where you're going to get the built-in steering valves and the built-in Fendt guide. As far as the lighting goes, you have 2 options. You can order these in a full halogen or a full LED package, right? So it really simplifies it. You don't have to worry about having some LED lights and some halogen lights. You just pick, do you want all halogen or do you want all LED lights? Now let's go ahead and walk around the back side and we'll take a look at the hydraulics on this tractor. The Fendt 500 series is going to have hydraulic capabilities from 29 gallons a minute up to 42 gallons a minute, depending on which pump option you choose. With that, you can get up to 5 rear valves like we were showing here today, and you can get up to 2 valves on the front of that machine. Something unique about the Fendt hydraulic system, the transmission is completely isolated from the implement hydraulics. If you're running a baler and somebody plugs in dirty couplers on the back, or if you're running a planter and some hydraulic motor shavings start going back to the tractor, it stays isolated just in that implement hydraulics. It's not going to contaminate your transmission and not going to contaminate that rear end. So it really helps improve the life of those components. Now let's take a look at the 3-point. The 3-point is going to be a Cat 2 3-point with hook ends. These hook ends are going to function as a built-in quick hitch. It's going to allow you to back up to those implements, hook up, and get out of there nice and quick and easy. In base is going to be single acting. What that means is it's going to have only lifting force up like a standard tractor, but optional is double acting. So if you need to be able to put down pressure on an implement and help it get in the ground, or maybe you're pulling a blade of some kind, you want to be able to put a little bit of down pressure on it, the double acting is going to be a great option for you. Looking at the rear of the machine, a couple other things that I would like to point out is going to be these 2 connections here. This tractor is equipped with 2 different braking options on the rear. One is going to be the hydraulic trailer braking like we're showing here. This is a dual line system. You say, well, I have a grain wagon that has a single line system. That's not a problem. The dual line system will still be able to run that single line system. Right above it is going to be our Power Beyond. ports. So we could have a pressure, a load sense, a return, and then a K-strain. So if you want to run a planter or something like that that requires those, you can do that without a problem. And then up here is going to be a set of glide hands. If you were going to pull a pup trailer or a trailer that had air brakes on it, you have those glide hands to do so. Another use case that I find that I think is really helpful is hooking up to the red port as well, and if you had an air hose, you could blow off your baler or blow out a seed tube or something like that that you need if you need to. On the fender of the tractor, this is actually equipped on both sides. The fender is going to have a set of blue buttons. These buttons are going to be for the 3-point. If you're back here and you're needing to raise and lower that 3-point to hook up an implement, you can easily do that without having to go in and out of the cab. Additionally is going to be a yellow button here for the PTO. We can actually start and stop the PTO on the rear of the Fendt tractors without getting in and out of that cab. And to take it one step further, with TMS, our tractor management system, if you set an RPM in the cab, you could start that PTO on the rear, it'll engage, rev up to your set RPM, and when you're done, you could hit the button, it'll idle down and then disengage. So for instance, if you're running an auger or something of that nature, or even a feed wagon that you want to hit that button on the rear, you want it to engage and rev up to an RPM without you getting in and out of the cab, you can do that just like that. And then the last one I want to touch on is going to be for these hydraulics. This set here is going to raise or act as the plus and the minus, if you will, for whichever valve that you have selected. So you notice that this is black and there is not a black valve on the rear. That's because you pick which valve you want it to control inside the cab. If you've got something that's got a hydraulic tongue, or maybe you've got an auger that's got a hydraulic leg that you want to swing up back and forth underneath trucks, it's a great thing to be able to hit those on the rear of the cab without getting in and out of that cab all day long. Now that we've covered what's on the rear of the machine, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the front. The tractor that we have here today is equipped with a front 3-point as well as a front PTO. Both of those are going to be an option. The front PTO is going to be 1,000 RPM. And I almost forgot, I should have mentioned, but while we were back at the rear of that machine, the 500 series does come in base with a 540 and 1,000 RPM PTO for the rear. The front one that's 1,000 RPM is optional. Now, as far as the 3-point assembly itself, you're going to have kind of 3 options there. The first option that I want to talk about is going to be a ballast hitch. So that ballast hitch is going to have these 3-point arms, and if you notice right now they're folded up because we've got a loader on this tractor. If you pop the loader off and you wanted to fold these arms down and use them, you just pop the pins out, fold the arms down, put the pins back in, and you're on your way. The ballast hitch is not going to have hydraulic cylinders in here. It's just going to have a set of links. So this lower portion is going to be locked solid, but you could still tilt these arms up and down to be able to hook up a weight or hook up a liquid tank, whatever you're trying to do. Now, if the ballast hitch isn't for you and you're wanting even a little more yet, you can step up to a front 3-point that's going to have position control. So you can actually raise and lower those arms, set them to a position just like that. And to do one better, if you're running a front mower or you're running a front snowblower or something like that on the front, you can actually get it with relief control. So that relief control is going to act essentially as a hydraulic suspension. So you could set how much down, or excuse me, not down pressure, but how much relief or how much lift you want those arms to be lifting up on that implement. That's going to transfer that weight back to the front tires on the tractor, but it's also going to lift that implement up so it's either gliding over the ground. Now, if you're going over a hill or something like that, that allows that implement to follow the ground and not just be digging in that ground as you're going over those contours. While we're at the front of the tractor, one other thing I want to talk about is going to be the front axle suspension. Every standard Fendt tractor is going to include front axle suspension in base. This tractor specifically has a loader on it, so a couple applications I want to touch on there. If you're running the loader and you want to do some really fine grading work, that front axle suspension will actually allow you to lock that front end down at lower speeds so you can get that real fine grading work in, or maybe if you're trying to move bales off of a truck, something like that nature, and you want to be able to lock that suspension so it's not moving, it'll let you go ahead and do that. When you increase your speed back up and you start running through the field or running down the road, that suspension is going to go back to that middle position and give you that nice smooth ride that you're used to. Now, while we're up talking about loaders, I want to touch on a couple of those. You're going to have a few different options. You're going to have both 2-valve options and 3-valve options. The difference between a 2-valve and a 3-valve is a 3-valve is going to include a live third function. So if you wanted to run something on the front in continuous flow in conjunction to raising and lowering that implement, the 3-valve is going to allow you to do that. Additionally, on the side, you can have a standard cargo loader or you can have a cargo profi loader. If you're ever looking at the side of one of our loaders and you see profi on it, profi is going to mean that that tractor is going to have a built-in weighing function. So if you're loading bales out of the field, putting them on a truck, and you want to know how much weight you're pulling off of that field or how much weight you're sending down the road with somebody, those weighing functions are going to be really handy for that. Additionally, if you're loading a feed wagon, it'll give you another set or another tool that you can use to load that feed wagon as well. Now, not only is it going to include the weighing function, but it's also going to include some limits. So a couple things you can do. If you had a memorized position, maybe you wanted it to go to the same height when you load a truck every time, or maybe you wanted the bucket to go flat on the ground every time. Those memorized positions are going to allow you to do that real easy. You're not going to have to hunt around and try and find those positions every time. Lastly, if you're working in a barn that's got a lower rafter and you don't want that loader to get up into those rafters, you can set a max height on that loader and it acts as a secondary for you. So the operator, if you got a bunch of other things going on, it'll limit that loader height so it doesn't go up into those rafters. Now, one other thing that I haven't talked about yet that I really want to touch on is our Gold Star Customer Care Program. Every Fendt tractor sold in North America includes our Gold Star Customer Care Program. That for 3 years or 3,000 hours, whichever comes first, that's going to include all your scheduled routine maintenance. That allows you to have a fixed operating cost over that period of time, and you know exactly what that machine is going to cost you, and there's not going to be any surprises. Additionally, we're going to back that with a 48-hour loaner guarantee. So what that means is if that machine goes down for more than 48 hours, you're guaranteed a loaner. When it's go time, and we can't be waiting around on machines. Thank you for taking the time to walk around the 500 series with us today. I hope you learned something new. If you'd like to learn more, please visit your local dealer or you can find us at Fendt.com. If you're not sure who your local dealer is, we do have a dealer locator on the website that you can use to find that. We look forward to the opportunity to be able to serve you and your operation. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.